Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. This came out July 28th, 1989, directed by Rob Hedden. What's interesting about this title, Jason Takes Manhattan, is that there's a Muppet movie called The Muppets Take Manhattan, which also came out in the 80s. So you have two franchises taking Manhattan within the same decade. I find it hysterical. I would have loved for a Muppet Jason Voorhees crossover. That would be absolutely hysterical. Boy can dream, can't he? So this one is weird because it's called Jason Takes Manhattan. We see Times Square, we see the skyline of Manhattan at the very beginning of the movie. There's a narrator, but then Jason doesn't get to Manhattan until an hour and 3 minutes into the hour and 40-minute movie. I checked my times. I took my notes. Hour and 3 minutes in, Jason gets to Manhattan. That means he's in Manhattan for 30 minutes because there's credits, right? That's dumb. Like, if you're gonna pitch the whole thing, give us Jason in Manhattan, not the lead up to Manhattan. Like, false advertising. I've said this numerous times. Transformers 4, Age of Extinction, pitch Dinobots. You didn't get Dinobots till the very end of the movie. A bunch of other films or books pitch something, but you don't get it till the very end, and that's false advertising. That's not cool. So, this is about this girl, Rennie. I'm just going to close this. She is a high school senior, and some of her classmates two of the classmates are on a boat on Crystal Lake, enjoying their time, before graduating, to go off to college. So, the two of them inadvertently drop the anchor. The anchor rubs up against a power line on the bottom of the lake, electrocutes the corpse body of Jason, who then reanimates again as a zombie, kills the two on there, and then he himself somehow takes the boat to a dock because Camp Crystal Lake is massive now that has a dock, unless it sailed kind of through a channel, which is also possible. We don't really go into all the details, but eventually the boat docks, kind of. Jason then jumps ship to go onto this mini cruise ship, which is where all of the kids who are graduating high school are on to get to Manhattan to celebrate their graduating class, right? And then that's where the story takes place, right? So the main character's name is Rennie. We get a little backstory that her uncle threw her in Crystal Lake when she was little to try to teach her how to swim, but like Jason, as a drowned boy, pulled her down, but he didn't kill her then, but now he's out to kill her now. Her kind of boyfriend, Sean's dad, is the captain of this boat. But then, of course, as the movie progresses, Jason's killing one person after the other, and Sean now has to take charge of the boat because he kind of knows how to sail, but, like, eventually the ship is sinking, and, like, they have to abandon ship, so then there's 5 survivors and a dog. They eventually paddle their way to Liberty Island, to then a dock on the southern tip of Manhattan, get to Manhattan. Jason, of course, follows suit by just swimming, I don't know, because he can't technically swim, but he spends a lot of his time in the water now because he's a zombie, but he only reanimates when he gets hit with electricity. The timeline's weird because also in the beginning of the movie, one of the kids on the original boat was saying, "Oh, this boy drowned like 30 years ago." Wrong, because we did the math. If Jason drowned in what was it? He drowned in 57. Where's my goddamn notes? Okay. Excuse me. Drowned in 1957. That means if it was 30-something years ago, that means it's like late 80s. But it's not late 80s because we did the math, because the last movie, we're in August 13th, 1993. That's when Tommy teams up with Megan to chain Jason down. That was the 6th one. The 7th one was New Blood, which was about that girl with the telekinetic powers who can, like, unchain him. But in the 6th movie, it's 1993, according to our calendars and maps and stuff. So I don't know when the hell 7 takes place. I clearly don't know when the hell 8 takes place. So the timeline is irrelevant at this point. 1 through 6 is what matters, timeline-wise. And then 7 on is just fluff, fanfare fluff. We'll go with that. I'm a little disappointed, but I don't have many expectations then for fanfare fluff. Now that we have just a zombie Jason, we just want blood, guts, and murder, right? Good old horror film. So Jason takes a new mask from one of the kids on the original boat, does his killing with various weapons, as he always does. And then he eventually faces Rennie and Sean through the streets of Manhattan, through alleys of Manhattan. They're in Times Square, which is pretty awesome because you get an actual glimpse of actual New York City via subway and Times Square. When was this made? This came out in 89, so it was made in 88. So like late 80s, Manhattan was dirty. So it's like nice to see that grit kind of a thing and authenticity to the character's story plot and such. So then it's a matter of, how does one kill Jason? They throw him onto the third rail via subway. It doesn't work. They do other stuff. Doesn't work. So eventually they come across this maintenance guy in a sewer tunnel. And he says, oh, you kids got to get out of here at 12 o'clock. The whole line floods in 10 minutes with toxic waste. So then, naturally, one would just dangle from a ladder going up into, the sewer grate, having Jason follow, and then have him disintegrate in the toxic sludge that is washing through the streets of Manhattan, under the streets of Manhattan. Obviously, because that's how one does these things. And that's Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. It is not as terrible as I just described it. It has really cool kill moments. I love when Jason takes the hot stone in that sauna on the cruise ship and kills the guy in the stomach with that. That was pretty cool. We haven't seen that before. When he kills that girl in the club on the boat, that was pretty neat. Little things like that. The girl in the stairwell, like just the cool kill shots, like we will remember. But like Jason tramping through Times Square, kicking a stereo. A guy takes a switchblade out. He's like, "Yo, man!" Like something like, "You messed with the wrong guys." And then Jason just like casually moves his mask up, doesn't move, and then moves his mask down. And the guys freak out and they go, "No, it's cool, man, it's cool," and they run away. I think that's hysterical because there's a lot of means of you can actually cosplay as Jason Voorhees in the middle of Times Square, and it would make absolute sense because it happened in the film. It can happen in real life. Obviously, Times Square now is completely different than it was in 1989, 1988 when they filmed it. But still, I want to see that. I want to see Jason in Times Square. I want to see cosplay pictures of that. Obviously, it had to be corpseified, zombie, wet Jason, but like, things happen. So, the next film we're going to talk about is A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Then we're jumping to Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. So we're doing 2 nightmares back to back. We haven't done that actually before, so that's interesting. And then we have Jason Goes to Hell, Final Friday. We have Wes Craven's New Nightmare. We then have Jason X. After that is Freddy vs. Jason, which technically we already reviewed. And honestly, I'm not going to watch it again because I normally watch that on Halloween, so I can wait. And then Friday the 13th, the 2009 remake. And then A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 2010 remake. And that's it. That's our timeline. Oh, also, there's an episode of The Goldbergs called Mr. Knifey Hands. I think it's like season 8 or something like that. We're going to watch that and we're going to talk about it and keep it in our Friday Nightmare on Elm Street reviews because we talked about the Wedding Singer episode of The Goldbergs when we were talking about our Wedding Singer reviews. So I want to keep that all in theme. I think it's great that 80s nostalgia can coincide with Goldbergs. Love it. Love that show. Absolutely love it. All right. So how many more of this franchise do we have to go through? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 movies left of these 2 franchises that I have to talk about. Then after this, we're doing Insidious. I think we're doing Insidious because there's 4 of those. Then there's 2 Sinisters. And then I got a list. I got a spooky Halloween-y horror movie list that we got to go through. There's 67 days till Halloween. I'm currently recording this August 26th. I think there's 67 days left till Halloween. And I think my list is like 45 movies and stuff and books because I got a stack of books too. I got a bunch of books I got to read too. I got a lot. Got a job, full-time job plus a part-time job. Like I got a lot of stuff to do, but we can do that. Who needs sleep? Freddy's gonna kill you in your sleep. So who has to sleep? Irrelevant. Mucho mahalo.